Stand by for official White House press release. This is a White House security announcement. Global emergency declared. 2 U.S. nuclear missiles at RAF Lakenheath, United Kingdom, have failed a routine test due to critical O-ring deterioration. Immediate action is underway.
Missiles 402 and 422 failed to stand down. O-rings are at critical deterioration. Warheads on automatic countdown. Detonation expected January 30th, 2026, 06 o'clock GMT.
What is an O-ring, and why is it vital?
A small rubber piece. Its failure means detonation cannot be stopped.
Evacuate all areas near RAF Lakenheath immediately. We are working with the British government for mass evacuation. Survival instructions will be sent to all UK phones. Follow them closely.
Breaking news. Television screens read, "Breaking news. Stand by for an official White House press release." This is a White House security announcement. Global emergency. The screens on television read all around the world. White House head of defense walked out onto the rostrum. Whilst powering the nuclear weapons for a routine test firing up, the weapons on 1/26/2026 at 2:06 GMT under a routine test procedures, 2 of the missiles failed to stand down. Head of Defense continued, "We believe the O-rings are at a critical deterioration stage. The first weapon to fail is Missile 402 and 422 from a USA Joint Air Force base located at RAF Lakenheath, located 52.4069757.5657443, United Kingdom. Warheads have failed to stand down and return to safe mode. We believe the weapon's warhead has an O-rings failure and is on automatic countdown. Our White House sources agree the approximate date, Friday, 30th January 2026 at 6 o'clock GMT. Warhead will detonate. We are working around the clock to secure the failing 2 missiles." The news reporters in the briefing room asked, "What is an O-ring and how important to a nuclear warhead is an O-ring to the weapons?" "My understanding is an O-ring is a small piece of rubber," Head of Defense replied. "Can it be fixed or repaired?" News reporter. "No, we at Department of Defense are working on the solution. However, in the meantime, we are urging the population of Great Britain to remain calm," Head of Defense said. "What is the radius of such an explosion cause?" a reporter asked. Head of Defense continued with important figures. "Warhead 402 holds a yield of 20,000 pounds, and Warhead 422 has a yield of 50,000 pounds, 20,680 kilograms. Fat Man, which was dropped on Hiroshima, was 10,000 pounds, 4,500 kilograms. 402 warhead is approximately twice as powerful as Hiroshima, and 422 is more than twice as powerful as 402. Why would you make a weapon so powerful? Why wouldn't you keep it here on U.S. soil? A White House press reporter asked. As part of our Joint Missile Defense Early Warning Program was designed for the threats overseas, Head of Defense said. "What can be done to stop the O-ring from detonating?" a reporter yelled, the crowd groaning and shouting in the press room. "We are working tirelessly with the British government to begin mass evacuation. However, Great Britain has a population of 69.9 million people, so the evacuation will be difficult. We are advising all of Great Britain to listen to their government's evacuation procedures and follow their instructions. We have begun evacuation of our non-essential staff and are warning the people of Great Britain. If you can leave the country, do so in an orderly manner," the Head of Defense said and continued. "We are issuing survival warning packages to all United Kingdom. If you have a UK-registered phone, you will receive a message explaining the best way to survive such a catastrophic event." The President of the United States walked out onto the rostrum. Mr. President, the eager press officers yelled and repeated over and over again until the President spoke in the very loud, busy press room. Mr. President. The President repeated the same brief as the Head of Defense had. At 02:06 on 1/26/2026, after a 5 minutes weapons hot startup test, the warhead failed to return back to cold standby mode. It has been told to me that a rubber O-ring had developed a deterioration. Detonation is imminent. All who can leave the location around RAF Lakenheath should leave immediately. Continuing, our American citizen is in the danger area, have be relocated until the nuclear weapons has detonated. There is a high probability of nuclear fallout which will reach as far as Scotland. The missiles still have booster ignition controls, and we are devising a plan to launch the missile over the Atlantic Ocean before they detonate. What is the O-ring so important to the nuclear weapons, and why wasn't this possibility not seen sooner? My understanding, an O-ring is a rubber piece, flex, and helps with the separation of the warhead from the missile base. What, can't you just deactivate the warhead? The warheads are fitted with anti-tempering technology, and we cannot counteract its threat sensors protocols. However, now that the plastic and rubber O-rings have been brought to our attention, we will fix and replace every rubber O-ring on all our nuclear warheads. President reassured the press room. Why would you have used a perishable material on such a dangerous weapon? A reporter asked. I do not know. I have been told weapons have an expiry date, and over the past 65 years, we have been replacing all of the deteriorating parts one by one. That's why our defense budget is so high. Mr. President, my family are in the UK. Then evacuate them, the president said, walking off the rostrum, to shouts in the press room. The television station returned to their individual news anchors, whilst the world prayed and watched the clock tick down to the nuclear weapons catastrophe.